As remote viewers, we're trained to use our abilities and our intuitive processes to gather data from anywhere in space and time. I recently had the opportunity on a training target to visit the attack on Pearl Harbor. I want to share some of my data with you. I'm a new remote viewer, actually a remote viewer in training is a better way to describe it. But I had some good contact with the target that I think is pretty fun to share with all of you. So I'd like to review some of that data with you right now. My name is Dennis Snappy II. I'm a member of the CryptoViewing team. I'm currently being trained by Daz Smith. If you haven't checked out Daz's work, he's at remoteviewed.com. He's the author of several books as well, and just a wealth of resources and knowledge. So be sure to check out Daz's site if you have an interest in remote viewing. Great historical archives on there as well. In addition, with the CryptoViewing team, check us out at patreon.com/CryptoViewing. A lot of good work being done there, a lot of relevant and timely work and actionable things that you can work on through that website, through our content there. And Dick Allgire's YouTube page, always good content, almost daily coming out there. And the work of Edward Reardon will mystify your mind. Find him on YouTube as well. So back to this target here at Pearl Harbor. Interesting, once I warmed myself up for this session, I go through a meditation process and get myself kind of in the mindset to do this. Right when I'm getting started, I closed my eyes and I saw just a three-sided shape here. And I looked at that and I said, oh, that looks like a propeller. And I wrote that down and I sketched it out, and it had something to do with water, and I saw a land-sea interface. And then I went into my session, and my ideograms kept coming back to a structure. I kept getting objects and structures, and then on one of my pages I started to get some kind of seascape. I drew some water. I wrote down the word an island. I had this also this drawing of, I thought it was maybe a tree, or I said maybe it was some kind of capillary. I couldn't tell what it was, but in my mind it was just this dark shape that came up skinny and then got real wide, as maybe a tree would. So I kept seeing, every time I closed my eyes, just this shape here. I thought maybe it was some kind of tree. I wrote down maybe capillaries, but it was the skinny at the bottom and wide at the top. And in looking at the feedback later, I think what I was seeing was the clouds from the bombs dropping, the smoke and the flames and the explosions. And I wrote down that this was an island, and here my regret is in my mind. I said, oh, Hawaii. But because I work with Dick and he's from Hawaii, I thought, oh, that's just my conscious mind just putting in Hawaii there. So lesson learned there. Always write it down, whatever you're thinking, and stop. That's what shuts you down, is you start worrying, oh, maybe this is wrong, or maybe this is my conscious mind. So it doesn't count. I didn't write it down, but I did think it. So that's interesting there. And then I had this this image in my mind of a cloud with a beam coming down and then hitting that tree-like structure. What I think I was seeing was a bomb falling from the sky, hitting its target, and then the smoke cloud that ensued from that. So moving into stage 3 here, this drawing that I have here, it's interesting. I saw it, what I initially thought at first was a white school bus. Again, I didn't write that down. I wish that I did, because when you look at this picture here of the memorial, it is kind of structured. You can see how I would get a white school bus from it. So I'm wondering if that's what in fact that I was seeing. The windows drawn on it and the top. But then when I probed the top, I got another impression here. And I actually wrote down either torpedo or comet. And I think that applies to some of the torpedoes that were being used to attack the ships that were there in the harbor during that battle. So definitely, I think, some good data there that I got. I was trying to find the most interesting aspect of this target. I came across this drawing of a star. I have to research that a little bit more to see if there's anything to that. But I did write the term hellhole. And I think one could describe that day certainly as a hellhole for anybody that was there on the ground. And then my last drawing here, when I moved to 1,000 feet above the target, looking at this now, I think what we're seeing here is, a side view maybe of one of the ships here, with the portholes or the windows or whatever they had on those ships there, looking down on it. I'm not sure what those protrusions were. Maybe they were cannons, maybe they were guns. Could have been any number of things. Again, I didn't have close enough contact with the target to explore that any further. Oh, this was an interesting drawing here. This was, I interpreted this as an AOL, and I thought maybe it was some kind of big telescope. But thinking now, this was possibly some kind of turret or part of a gun, one of the big guns on the ships that I was seeing. I'm wondering if that's what that was. A lot of lessons learned here as a rookie remote viewer. Ultimately, I should have taken some of my data, the face that I drew a face here, and I wrote down Colonel Sanders or Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's silly, it's seamless, but I'm wondering if I would have probed that a little further, if I would have gotten some good data about some of the life forms, some of the people that were there on that day, instead of just dismissing that as noise. And again, there's a lot of noise in here. I'm a rookie. I've got less than 100 targets under my belt right now. But I hope that, maybe there's some lessons learned here that you can take if you're a new remote viewer like me. Maybe you can get something out of it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on what you think of the target. And any commentary you have is much appreciated. So don't forget, check out Daz Smith at remoteview.com. Check out the CryptoViewing team, patreon.com/CryptoViewing. Look for Edward Reardon and Dick Allgaier on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, please check out my book, I Am Human, Food for the Archons. Humanity's psychic connections, parallel worlds, simulated realities, and the manipulation of mankind. I'm Dennis Nappy II, reminding you to let your intuition be your guide. Thanks.